What's up, YouTube? What's up to my B&B Nation? Welcome to another episode of Boxing and Bullish. I am your host, Dev the Smoke, and it's another fight weekend coming up, so you know what I'm about to do. That's right, I'm about to talk my shit. Check it out.
Round one.
So I'm going to start round one out with this great fight card that we got coming up in Cleveland. And unfortunately, I won't be able to make it, but I'll be watching it for sure. So, it's a great fight card, though. I mean, you got three, the young lions. Tiger Johnson, you have Shushu in there, Shushu Carrington, and then you have Abdullah Mason. And then he's fighting Albert Bell, which, you know, that should be a good fight. He was going to be fighting Joe Cordina. Due to visa issues, Joe Cordina was unable to get into the United States to be able to do the fight. Should be a great card. USA versus Mexico. I'm excited about it. I'm excited about checking out the young guns, the young lions that's coming up, especially Shushu and Abdullah. Tiger Johnson, great too. He gonna finally get his shine because he hasn't really been able to get his shine like that. He gonna finally get his shine as he should. Shushu is one of the most exciting fighters, and then Abdullah Mason is definitely one of the most exciting young dudes in the game. So we gonna check it out. We gonna dive in. So yeah, this was at the press conference. We're just gonna check out a little bit of what each of these guys had to say.
This fight here in Cleveland.
Oh no, I feel good, man. You know, this is a dream come true. Outside of my Olympic dream, I wanted to always fight in Cleveland in front of my friends and family. So, we're gonna put on the show Saturday.
Last time out, you were in something of a 50-50 fight going into it, and you put out maybe your best performance, one of your best performances of your career. What do you think you showed in that last fight?
I mean, they say it was a 50-50 fight. I told y'all what I was gonna do. I told Paulie, I told Chris Algieri I was gonna knock him out, and everybody was sleeping on me, so I had to sleep him to show everybody to stop sleeping on me.
And you said you told the commentators going into the last fight that you were going to win that fight by knockout. How are you going to win this fight?
Same thing.
Turn to you, got that green belt, carried it everywhere I see you, proud champion right now.
Let's listen to what Shushu got to say.
When you look back at that win you had against Castro back in January, how do you feel about it now? How do you think that performance went for you?
The performance went exactly how it was supposed to. We had a great training camp throughout that fight.
It was a good fight.
And we executed, everything that we wanted to do in that fight. We were able to do, break him down and get the victory the way we got it.
Take a shot. He did take some shots.
As of right now,
and he got a little hurt.
Just looking forward to this Saturday. I got my mind focused on this opponent I have coming up with me right now.
Dog in him.
And with him, Rene Palacios, he's a good fighter. I like to challenge myself. There's actually there was a lot of guys that Carl will tell you that didn't accept this fight. You know what I'm saying? And Rene Palacios, he took it. He took it quickly, and I respect him for that. You know what I'm saying? I see that he fights with his heart on his sleeve. His style is something that's challenging, and I'm looking forward to it.
26-pound division, you made it clear to everyone that you want all four. You want to be undisputed at 126. What kind of message do you want to send to the rest of this division on Saturday?
Man, to be honest, I'm not really focused on the future right now. I'm focused on this Saturday. I'm focused on getting through Rene Palacios. And then once that day comes, that day is going to come. I also wanted to kind of touch base on a little something.
Preparing to face Andy Cruz, who fights a certain style. Abdullah fights another style. How many changes did you have to make
gonna be very,
in the
very
last
different.
couple of weeks you've been preparing for this?
Very different.
I mean, it's boxing. We at the top level. We've been in there with all the styles.
I'm going to do my comparison.
Cruz do fight a more moving style.
Comparison.
I got some experience with Abdullah already.
Watching,
how would you answer that?
Clips
I mean, I get turned down by a lot of guys.
This is going to be a much different fight than what you're preparing for. That's for sure.
Like that. I would have been.
Abdullah is a different animal.
Fighting in the Cleveland area before, but now headlining as a world champion. Is there something a little bit special about that?
Yeah, man, I'm excited. Yeah, I'm super excited. That's something that me and my brother's been looking forward to doing since
when we do this on a professional level, it's going to be big for Cleveland. And this is it's big for not only Cleveland now, but it's on TNT. So this is a match. This fight, my past 10, 15 fights. Every time I have a fight, I go out to another city and perform. That I come back.
This shit was against Joe Cordina.
When you gonna fight in Cleveland? Next fight.
This is gonna be a different type of fight.
When you gonna fight in Cleveland?
With it being against Albert Bell because of the style, how Albert Bell's style is gonna be a different fight. My first take, Tiger Johnson. I like his response. I like the fact that he was like, same result. I'm gonna knock him out, and we gonna take this by KO. That shows that confidence, and he looks like he's ready to go. I like Shoo. I'm not looking at the future. I'm looking at my guy right now in front of me, because they always try to push you right into the next fight, and then you can not be focused on the opposition in front of you and end up taking an L, having a bad night because you didn't have the focus. So I do like his answer. And then third, Abdullah Mason. Yes, it's a big night, big fight for him. He headlining. I like his focus. I like what he said, that we both coming in here ready. He not overlooking his guy at all. Even though Albert Bell got caught up on short notice, he's not overlooking Albert Bell. Albert Bell got skills. He's in there, and he's going to be ready to go. Both of those guys going to be ready to go. Albert Bell sounded like, hey, I know I got caught up. This is not exactly what I wanted. I wish I was in another weight, but I'm ready. I'm a professional, and I'm ready to go. So my take so far with just the press conference clips is that I like all three of these guys' responses. I think everybody is ready. So as always, with Boxing and Bullish, we do an unbiased take. I go ahead and look at both guys and break it down on what I see. I've been watching these guys throughout their careers, but I figure if we're going to talk about this fight, we're going to do a breakdown and check out some highlights. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's check it out.
Even offered himself up as a short notice opponent.
Honestly, all the things I saw from Albert Prince Bell in his career, that was probably his best knockout he had. A lot of his knockouts that he had was against much lesser opposition. Because from what I see with Albert Bell, he's got 28 wins, but he's not a power puncher. And you can even tell just by how he throwing his shots. They're clean, they're effective, but they don't have pop. He could beat you up, because I've watched some of his fights where he will beat you up, but he does not have the pop to really hurt someone. Here he stopped him, but you could tell this was a much lesser opposition. I don't even think he stopped him, but he dropped him. He might have did stop him this fight. I believe he did stop him this fight. He stopped him, but much lesser opposition. So it's a different type of fight when you fighting against, the local guys.
130-pounder in the world, but he's even offered himself up as a short notice opponent in the past. That is a nasty left hook.
Nah, that was a hell of a left hook.
Controversy, but now you're down to the body.
This guy's much shorter dude. So he had
so long that he can protect the body.
Target practice.
And it's a nice counter right one shot at a time. See, that's the issue. Put them together. Put those combinations
right
together,
up straight down the pipe. You can see his eye swole up. Beat him up.
He's tenderizing that left
beat him up.
right eye. No knockdown. I felt that. That's where it's at right there. See? Beautiful
to me, it's
right
the lack of power. It's that lack of aggression in his punches that's killing him.
See the work right there. He's standing a little bit too high, but I like what I see.
That pop.
Touch, boom.
He's slick.
That tall, that long.
He's tall,
and
he can get around. He's going to try to outbox.
And you've only got one eye.
Mason, and that's where he's not going to be able to do it. Okay, now that we looked at some Albert Bell, let's go ahead and check out some Abdullah Mason.
A blinding jab, fast, accurate. Didn't land.
Abdullah Mason
Right there, but I do like that straight
is going to be a
hand.
much different animal.
Oh, and there it is. Why did you like it?
Abdullah
Because
Mason
it is damaging.
has real power. He
No
really
doubt, but when you
brings
can do it at
real
this level
heat with his
against
shots.
this type of competition.
He can box.
Oh my goodness.
Fundamentally
That starts
sound.
the combination
He
now
can take a shot.
for Mason, who
Honestly,
has the
without me
angles,
having to even go through the highlights,
studies the greats in the sport,
look at
and that's a
Abdullah Mason, bro.
knockdown.
Look at what he
He's
do.
gonna have to bite down hard to survive.
Every shot is
Well, that
aggressive.
body
Look at
shot
that.
hurt
Body shot.
Fernandez, and that's where Mason becomes so dangerous. Once he hurts you downstairs,
Big difference in how he
he
throwing his shots and
upstairs.
what we just saw from Albert Bell.
Fernandez showing a
Big
ton of heart
difference.
here.
Albert Bell
Maybe too
got
much
height,
for his
he
own
probably
good.
got leverage because of that height, so he don't have to put so much into it. But
First 2 minutes of this fight.
Abdullah Mason,
Oh, and there you see
he's
how
got the
precise he is.
same
Sets up a
great
right uppercut,
form in his
follows up
shots,
with the left.
but he actually is trying to damage
Go down there
you.
and test that body.
He is
Look at that
throwing every
uppercut.
shot with
Off the
bad
jab.
intentions.
You don't see that.
He's trying to damage you.
Honestly.
And this is the big difference
Each shot
between
is
him
vicious. He's
and
got
Albert
value.
Bell.
Trains,
We can
steps
already
in
see the
for
difference
Abdullah
in
Mason.
aggression
Technical knockout
and
at the
power
end of round one.
Where's the corner?
between these two
at,
fighters.
man?
And to be honest, what I was going to do is just put up Mason against Savage Notes. Put it, that fight alone, just the fact of what, not just what Mason was giving out, but what he was taking.
And plus, it means how well he
Savage was hitting him with some bombs.
Oh, counter right
That was a
hand.
beautiful right
That's
hand.
the best way to defend against that. The fight is over.
Drop.
Referee Mark Nelson.
See, that's what I'm talking about
That right
between.
there, counterpunching.
Look at
to me is
that.
his
Pow!
staple.
Short check.
He is a tremendous
Boom.
counterpuncher. That's what attracted me to him.
Perfect
Counterpunch.
counter, right?
One punch.
Boom.
That's all it took. Beautifully placed
Southpaw.
counter. Right hook.
It's a tough fight. These is lesser opponents. This is not the type of fight that
And then he's doing it. And
Bell is going to
that's exactly
bring.
what he's doing right
Bell
now
is a
against
much
Luciano
sharper
Ramos.
fighter. He's going to be boxing. Based on what I've
Here we
seen,
go.
here's what I'm going to give my take. Bird,
Abdullah Mason, 18 years old.
he knows how to get you out of
Nice
there.
right hand from the
That's
MMA
another thing I
fighter who
like
has a
about
6-6
Abdullah Mason.
record.
Okay, so after watching the highlights on Abdullah Mason and Albert Bell, after watching those highlights, here's my take on this. It's going to be a slow fight. It's going to be a slow fight. Here's why. This is what I'm thinking. Albert Bell doesn't have the power, but he's a slick boxer. He's going to be moving. He's going to move. He's going to use the ring. He's going to use his jab. He's going to use his height. He's going to use the angles. He's going to try to avoid Abdullah Mason's power. Abdullah Mason is going to be chasing him around. It's going to probably be a Tom and Jerry type of fight, especially with Albert Bell taking it on shorter notice. I believe what's going to happen is that Abdullah Mason is going to beat him up. He's going to have to chase him around. Abdullah Mason with his, he's not a come forward, just a rock 'em, sock 'em, roll. He's not. So the 1-2, 1-2, 1-2 that Albert Bell throwing, he doesn't have a lot of power. He doesn't. That 1-2, 1-2 is not going to just land so frequently against Abdullah Mason. Abdullah Mason is too skilled. He's not going to just stand right in front of him and get bopped right down the guard, in the middle of the guard all night. He's going to be chasing, using his angles, and landing much more aggressive, effective punches, because that's how Abdullah Mason fights. He's going to land much more aggressive, effective shots than Albert Bell. And I think over time, and I'm talking maybe over the course of 9 or 10 rounds, that could stop Albert Bell. That could get the stoppage, especially the body work. If anything, the body work is going to be the difference. Abdullah Mason has exceptional body work, and Albert Bell is already light in the pants, but then on top of that, he didn't have a full camp. And that's the first thing that'll take the gas out, is the body work. And so what I feel is, with the work rate of Abdullah Mason and him, probably, I don't think Albert Bell's going to stand in there. He doesn't have the power to stand in there and just trade. He's going to move. And he's not going to just outbox Abdullah like he did his lesser competition, where these guys are shorter, smaller, they coming straight forward, peekaboo guard. He's not going to just outbox these guys. So I believe that what's going to happen is that Abdullah Mason's going to chase him around, corner him every chance he get, beat him up, get him on the ropes, beat him up, go to the body. Could eventually stop him, or it could be a one-sided unanimous decision. But that's my take on it. I think Abdullah Mason takes it either by a late TKO or a unanimous decision. We're going to move on to round 2.
Round 2.
All right, it's round 2. We got a lot to unload, gang. So we're going to be talking about Jerron Boots Ennis, Sebastian Fundora, and Virgil Ortiz. We gonna get into it. Check it out. Soon as Boots got hurt, here he go, chirping off, popping off. Yeah, I'm about to sleep you, Jerron. There you go, popping off. If I get him like that, I promise you I get him out of there. Well, you got to get him like that first, Virgil. And you got power. This what really got me. Xander, you look straight to your corner after you dropped that last time. You're a pussy. You did better than I thought you were going to do, but you're a quitter. I can't believe I just saw you do that. Saw him do what? Get beat up. He was out there getting destroyed. What you want him to do? What you want him to do? You want him to lose his life in the ring? The boy was getting hurt. He had his time. He was fighting. It wasn't like he was just running. He was fighting, but he was getting hurt. His corner the ones who stopped it. He looked to his corner. His corner the ones who stopped it. They didn't want him to go any longer because they are supposed to protect the fighter. That's what they're supposed to do. I thought that was the right time to stop it. He would have took more damage. He did not have anything left. And I understand, as a fighter, you are a warrior. And you are meant to be in there and do war. But you also are a human being that got a family to go home to. And you might have kids. You might have a wife. You got people who love you. And you want to live to fight another day and have your faculties. So at that point in time in that fight, when he had went down for the third time or so, he didn't have anything left. So I thought that was just a real bold statement, because it can happen to you, Virgil. It can happen to you. It can happen where you can get buzzed and you can't come back from the buzz, and you taking more and more and more punishment. And even though your heart might be there for you to be able to continue, you need somebody to protect you from you. Because that could be you. That could have been Xander's situation. He's getting hit in the head, in the chin, in the temple, in the ribs, in the kidneys, and everywhere. Who knows if he wasn't concussed? And his corner did him a favor by stopping the fight and not letting him take any more unanswered punishment. So that's my take on that part. Virgil, stop it. Xander got beat up. He got hurt. He was really hurt. And Boots would have continued to hurt him. There was no reason for him to continue after being down for the third time in the fight. So let's stop the chatter. Now, I'm going to move on to my second piece in round 2. My second piece of this is Sebastian Fundora. Tall ass Sebastian Fundora. I said when Boots get past Xander, he's going to have to see either Virgil or Sebastian. I thought Sebastian immediately, because Virgil wasn't really... He ain't been in the mix. He is in the mix, but he's not in the mix. Because of what he's going through with Golden Boy. That's pretty much why. But since he's not, And Sebastian is, since he is there, I knew that Boots would have to go in and fight Sebastian. And I was thinking, that's the mega fight that Sebastian would want for his. That would be the biggest fight of his career. And I think that would be Boots' biggest fight. That would be the most intriguing fight. And everybody would want to see it. And I didn't think that the negotiations was going to happen. And then it got reported that they did have negotiations immediately. So I was surprised. But now we got news about what was said. We're going to go and dive into that. Check it out. I talked about this. I mentioned it. Jerron Boots is having to see Sebastian Fundora. And shout out to Blue Blood Sports TV. Shout out to Blue Blood. The brother brings the heat. And he brought the heat again. This has been reported a few days ago now. But once again, I'm going to play a little bit of this clip because it confirms what I said in the previous video that I did.
This is why boxing is a joke. This is why. Every time there's a little bit of momentum in the sport of boxing, somebody in the sport of boxing that has any influence, the powers that be, destroy every ounce of momentum. Mm-hmm. It never fails. It never, ever fails.
He gonna go into it.
It always, the sport that is, that's run by the people in position of power, that's why you need His Excellency's Turki Al-Rashid. This is why you may need a Dana White.
Bingo. I said this. I said this in the previous video. I said, this is why this is happening. This is why this reform is happening. We don't necessarily like it, but we need it because every time we get ready to have some momentum and get ready to get these fights, you get this. Sebastian Fundora turned down the fight with Boots to fight for the belts. Now, he's WBC, Boots unified, WBA, WBO, and his manager, Kabashti, he said no, and they're gonna fight somebody who is not really his mandatory, because even though a fighter can be your mandatory, if you're fighting for unification, that trumps the mandatory. So you're not necessarily a mandatory if somebody is coming to say, hey, let's fight for a unification fight. That's going to trump your mandatory status. Instead of taking that fight to unify, he decides to fight some nobody, Ermal Hadrabaj. This is what I don't like about Fundora. I don't like this about his management, his manager. I don't like how they always ducking. So I don't think Fundora is scary. I think he puts a lot of his trust and direction into his management, to his manager. But I believe that his manager is one of these greedy guys, greedy promotion guys that want to milk the fighter for as many fights as they can, scared of losing their cash cow. You limiting his greatness because you don't want to put him in there against great fighters. Great fighters have been calling Sebastian Fundora out for years. You had Errol Spence jump in the ring. I want to fight you. You had Terrence Crawford put it out there. I want to fight you. Ducked all of them. Don't want to fight Earl. You didn't want to fight Bud. You don't want to fight Boots. Who do you want to fight? You would get in there with Brian Mendoza, somebody we don't know barely, and get your head knocked off. And then and lose against somebody we barely know instead of getting in there and challenging yourself against a real beast. And it's you putting all your faith in your manager that's destroying it. And the one line that Blue Blood said, where we need reform. We need change. And this is why I'm all for it. I'm for it. I'm for the idea of what they plan on doing. Let's get these fighters to fight each other. You're not doing your fighter any justice. You're not doing him any justice by having him fight a Ermo Hadrabach instead of getting in with the biggest fight for unification against Bruce Ennis.
You have people like this, Samson Liquid, who's never boxed. He's not a boxer. And he is directing his fighter, former unified WBC, WBO junior middleweight world champion, now WBC reigning junior middleweight world champion, to stay clear of the phenom, as I referred to him as, the former unified lineal WBA, IBF, Ring Magazine welterweight champion, now newly crowned WBO, WBA junior middleweight champion. They having conversations.
Stupid mistake.
That being the phenom, who is now top 6 pound for pound best fighters in the world, in Jerron Boots Ennis, superstar boxer, who is exciting. He's box office now. That can't be denied. A guy that Sebastian Fundora avoided.
Avoided him.
Remember, Zane Zayas was Sebastian Fundora's mandatory, and Sebastian Fundora vacated the belt.
I'm tired of that.
And he ducked Terrence Crawford. Remember that?
Yeah, he did. Sebastian Fundora is playing himself and making himself look soft. He didn't turn down fight after fight after fight after fight. You was okay with fighting a old ass Keith Thurman who was coming up. You knew you had all the advantages in the world, so you was cool with that. But then when you get some real guys that's okay, that's really there, that's at your level, because you're supposed to be elite, because you're a champion, so you're supposed to be the top. So when you get guys that's elite like you, instead of you challenging yourself, you are showing that you soft, that you got a soft side, and you listening to your manager who don't want you to lose, who don't believe in you enough to put you in there with real challenges. And he'd rather put you in there with Ermo Hadrabach, somebody we don't know at all, and he might knock you out. And how would you look then to lose to have another Brian Mendoza moment? How would you feel if you had another Brian Mendoza moment against Ermo Hadrabach? How would you feel then? If you get knocked out by somebody nobody know, and now he take your spot. Because that's what's going to eventually happen. You keep on picking on nobodies, and one of them nobodies is going to knock you out like one nobody already did. Because we don't know Brian Mendoza. We barely knew Brian Mendoza. We seen Brian Mendoza probably on ESPN a couple nights. That's about it. Brian Mendoza he wasn't making no waves. He wasn't making no waves. We didn't know Brian Mendoza like that. And he came in and flattened you out. So how are you going to feel when you keep fighting these B-rated dudes and one of them flattened you out and now you done lost your top spot? Stop listening to this greedy manager that all he want to do is milk you. And he call it protecting you. But how is that protecting? How is that helping your career? What's it doing for your career? It's keeping you in the same spot and making you look soft. You don't want to fight. You don't want to fight real challenges. Get in there and fight some dogs. That's my take on that. All right. We heading into round 3, y'all. We heading into round 3. In this round, we gonna be packing a lot of stuff in this one, boy. Talking my shit. We're gonna be talking about Devin Haney, G Money, and Keyshawn. Let's get it.
Round 3.
Now we know Now we know Bill Haney like to get in there and talk his shit. Bill be gone. He one of the realest to me. Talking his shit. A lot of people hate on Bill, but look what he done did with Devin Haney. A lot of stuff he be saying be flat out facts. The shit be real. So I like when Bill get to talking, and he gonna be saying something on here. We gonna go ahead and check it out.
On the list, Tank Davis, he sets at probably the number one. I mean, we've been had back and forth.
Now what I said in my last video, I said G Money back, and what happened to Shakur in that? Shakur got bumped right out, and he tried to play it like, well, I'm letting my brother go ahead and take that fight in Keyshawn Davis, but in actuality, several things happened. The WBO came in there and ordered that to happen, mandated that to happen. The WBO came in there and mandated that, so that happened. Number two, G Money, Gervonta Tank Davis, came in there and spoke up and said, well, I will fight you. And that's actually a bigger fight. So a couple things that happened in there. Shakur stalled to me. He came out with the 144 weight. Devin called his bluff, said, yes, I'll do it at 144. And then he decided to stall out. Then Keyshawn Davis popped up. Hey, wait a minute, I'm the mandatory at welterweight. Hey, that's supposed to be my fight. Now Dev like, hey, I'll fight you. I'll fight you first, then fight Shakur. Then out the blue, what happens? Here come G Money. Hold up. Y'all ain't about to get all that bread by yourself. I'm about to get in on that. I'm better than all y'all. Here come G Money. So now you got a real, as showbiz like to say, circle jerk. I ain't gonna take it. I ain't gonna use it, I promise. I won't steal it. That's yours. But that's what it is for real. And let's listen to Bill. There's
no realistic weight that Jake Paul could have ever come down to Devin's walk-around weight. So I consider this as real. Me and Al have had discussions. That's made it even more real.
Big news.
Never has anyone said anything about any dehydration, rehydration, or anything for that matter. So I think that it should be, and what it should be, is a fair fight. And that weight is to be determined. But it won't be anything under 144 pounds for nobody in the world.
January 2nd is the date that's been discussed already. So that's already huge news right there. That's a huge fight. That's a fight everybody will want to see. Let's be right back with another one. Straight off of Twitter, straight off of X, Devin Haney, he confirms it right here. One Davis after another. That means Keyshawn first, and then Gervonta in January. And that's huge. He's got a big deal. We all know he got that $100 million deal. He's going to get it, those fights. That's the 2-fight deal that's going to net that kind of money. And Shakur I don't think he wanted to fight Devin. That fight was on the table. They laid it out the best they could. The money was there, the weight and everything was agreed upon. And he still decided that he didn't want it. And they used Keyshawn, I'm going to give it to my brother, But I don't think he wanted it. I think after he seen Devin go up in weight, and he see how good Devin carrying that weight, and that Devin got power at that weight now. He dropped Brian Norman and beat Brian Norman up a little bit and ended up winning that fight fairly easily. After seeing that, I think that they reevaluating their position on how easy Devin is to get past with that size and the skill level, because he's a high skill level. But when you add the size on, now it's like, oh, he's a big guy picking on a little guy. And he not. Y'all about the same size. If he said you wanted to meet at 144 and he said, yeah, okay. How is that the problem? Y'all was just at the same size. It's crazy how people change up so quick and act like it's such a big disparity. It's not. It's not a big disparity in size. Just a few months ago, Shakur was talking about, I'll fight Conor Benn. What? What? He was fighting at 154. So, you know what I mean? How can you say you'll fight Conor Benn, skills pay the bills, yada, 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 but now your skills wouldn't pay the bills against Devin Haney, and y'all at the same weight of 144? Come on, man. See, that's where it don't make sense at. Because I haven't seen Devin Haney duck nobody. I ain't seen him duck no smoke. All I see him doing is talking about the list. What? That's all he doing. He got people on the list, and that's all I keep hearing them talk about. And I keep hearing people coming up with all these excuses. Debo Dev is the truth in my eyes. And we're going to see. We're going to see how this plays out. But this is very, very interesting right now when you got Devin Haney versus Keyshawn Davis, which is a huge fight in itself. A mega fight in itself. And then you got Devin Haney against G-Money Davis. That's going to be the biggest fight in boxing, possibly bigger than Devin and Shakur, mainly because Shakur is stalling it out. This is not the old era Shakur. This is the new era of boxing. The fights happen fast. Now it's different. The fights are happening faster. So that means you got to get witty. Everybody else is. That's my take on that. It's a shame that fight didn't just happen right when he said, yeah, I'll do the 144. So just for the future y'all fighters is out here now, just so you know what the fans want. We want fighters like Devin Haney, not scared to fight, willing to get in there and take on the best, really challenge themselves. So that's my take, and we'll be back. Boxing and Bullish Nation, my B&B gang, thank you for tuning in once again to another episode of Boxing and Bullish. I am your host, Dev the Smoke, and we gonna see you at the next one. Peace.